Welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something pretty extraordinary. A story spanning, what, millennia? A character who just transforms completely and really makes you rethink what being a god even means. It's one of the big ones in modern myth, for sure. We are talking, of course, about God of War.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about Kratos, and it's more than just an arc, right? It's this whole huge evolution
Right. Massive.
from, his super brutal Greek origins,
Vengeance fueled, definitely.
totally, all the way to the Norse lands, this
Hmm.
unexpected path with Atreus. It's vengeance, loss, and somehow maybe redemption. It's quite the journey.
So our mission today, our goal here is basically to be your guides through all of this. There's so much lore, such a big timeline. We're going to cut through it, pull out the really vital stuff from the source material we've got. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding the whole epic story. You'll get the cool details, the big moments, the themes, everything you need to feel like you really get it.
And the sources we're using are incredibly detailed. We've got these video transcripts that just lay out everything. Seriously, from the absolute primordial beginnings.
Like before anything.
Exactly. Through all the chaos in Greece,
Yeah.
the shift to Norse mythology, right up to the big dramatic conclusions, the depth is amazing, so we can really dig into stuff that you might miss otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, buckle up. It's going to be a deep one.
Okay, let's do it, starting right at the very, very beginning. Before Kratos, before even Olympus as we know it, the primordial foundations, what actually happened first? Who were the first players on the stage?
Right, so you got to go way back. You've got Gaia, basically Mother Earth, and Uranus, the sky. Primal forces. Their union, right at the dawn of time, produced some pretty wild beings.
Yeah.
First, the Hecatonchires, these massive things, 100 hands, 50 heads.
Yeah, terrifying.
And then the Titans,
Yeah.
the Elder Gods, powerful, formidable. But the key thing, right from the jump, is conflict. It's baked in.
So it's not like, and then there was peace. It's conflict from day one.
Pretty much. Chaos is inherent.
Hmm.
And almost immediately, you get this prophecy. A child is destined to overthrow its parent. That's the core conflict engine of this whole universe, really.
Wow.
It's this cosmic curse, a cycle that just keeps repeating. And you see it instantly with Kronos, the head titan. He hears this prophecy.
And he doesn't take it well, I'm guessing?
Not at all. He's so paranoid about losing power that he starts devouring his own kids.
Eating them. Seriously.
Yeah. Just swallows them whole to stop the prophecy. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Makes you question if power just corrupts instantly or if it's the fear of losing it.
That's horrific. But his wife, Rhea,
Yeah.
she does something, right? She's the first one to kind of push back against fate.
Exactly. Rhea gets clever. She manages to save the youngest son, Zeus, hides him away, swaps him for a rock wrapped in cloth, the classic trick.
Ha! Classic.
So Zeus survives, hidden from Kronos. And Rhea's defiance, that little act, that's what sets everything else in motion.
Which leads us to the first massive war, right? The Great War. Titanomachy.
The Titanomachy, yeah. Zeus grows up, finds out the truth, and just like the prophecy foretold, he rebels against his father Kronos and the other Titans. And this isn't just some family spat, it's a full-blown cosmic war. Cataclysmic.
Reshapes the whole world.
Fundamentally. The new generation, the Olympians, led by Zeus, versus the old guard.
And wasn't there a super weapon involved, something that really turned the tide?
Oh yeah, the Blade of Olympus. Forged by Zeus himself, channeling like pure divine power, lightning, the whole deal.
Yeah.
That blade is what really clinches it for the Olympians. The Titans are defeated, thrown down into Tartarus, deepest pit of the underworld, eternal punishment, nasty stuff.
So the Olympians win. Zeus is king. They set up shop on Mount Olympus.
Exactly. Zeus, his brothers Poseidon and Hades, his sisters Hera, Demeter, Hestia, they carve up the world, sky, sea, underworld. They establish this new order, the Greek pantheon we know. And crucially, within this new power structure, you get Ares,
The god of war.
the embodiment of conflict, bloodshed.
Yeah.
He finds his place in this new world order. Pretty violent place, as it turns out.
And there were enforcers, beings meant to uphold oaths in this new divine system.
The Furies, yeah. Primordial beings, born from, like, pure rage and madness itself. Their whole job is to punish oath breakers, keep everyone in line, divine law incarnate.
Sounds intense.
They mean business. Their first big case. Aegeon, one of those 100-handed Hecatonchires, he broke an oath to Zeus and bam. The Furies turned him into a giant stone prison. The prison of the damned.
Okay, so breaking an oath is a really bad idea.
A catastrophically bad idea. The Furies are the ultimate consequence, but this is where it gets interesting. They can be manipulated, Ares, always scheming, always wanting more power, sees them as potential tools.
He wants to use the Oath Keepers.
He persuades them to join his plot against Olympus. He feels he needs more firepower, basically. He's looking for champions, allies, anything to get an edge.
And this desperation leads him to create a champion with one of the Furies.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. He thinks his forces aren't enough, so Alecto, the Fury Queen, has a son with him, Orcos.
The son of war and rage. Sounds promising.
You'd think. But Ares is disappointed. He finds Orcos lacking. Not the perfect warrior he envisioned.
So he just discards him.
Pretty much. Relegates him to being just another oath keeper, like his mother's side. It really shows Ares' deep insecurity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This constant need for a champion, a perfect weapon.
Yeah, even the god of war needs backup. Or thinks he does.
Exactly. And this whole obsession with finding the perfect warrior, well, that path leads directly to Kratos.
Okay, so Kratos enters the picture, and we find out he's got this hidden connection. He's Zeus's son.
Yep. Secret son of Zeus. And Zeus, remember, is still paranoid about that prophecy.
Yeah.
Son overthrowing the father.
The same one that got Kronos?
The very same. History repeating itself, or the fear of it. So Zeus tells Ares, find my marked warrior son and eliminate him. Prevent the prophecy.
But Ares messes up. He gets the wrong son.
A critical, tragic mistake. He sees Kratos' younger brother, Deimos, who has this distinctive birthmark. Ares assumes he's the marked one. So he storms Sparta, grabs Deimos. Kratos tries to stop him. Just a kid, really.
Gets that scar over his eye.
Right. Ares strikes him down, gives him that scar. Athena actually steps in and saves Kratos' life, tells Ares to leave him. But Deimos is gone, kidnapped.
And that failure, that shapes Kratos profoundly, doesn't it? The tattoo.
Oh, absolutely. He's tormented by failing to save Deimos, vows it'll never happen again. He gets that tattoo, a copy of Deimos' birthmark, that red swirl across his body.
It's a constant reminder.
Exactly. Of his failure, his vow. It's pure determination etched onto his skin. Meanwhile, poor Deimos is taken to Thanatos, the god of death, locked away to keep the prophecy from happening. That early trauma just brews inside Kratos.
But life goes on. For a while, he becomes a Spartan general, gets married.
He does. Rises through the ranks, becomes this respected, brutal Spartan general, marries Lysandra, has a daughter, Calliope. You see this glimmer of a normal life almost. A man with a family, responsibilities.
But then tragedy hits again. His daughter gets sick.
Yeah, Calliope gets this terrible illness. Something Spartan law says means she should be, well, discarded, left to die.
Oh, man. That's harsh.
Incredibly harsh. Kratos, as a father, just can't accept it.
Yeah.
He defies Spartan law, goes searching for the ambrosia, this mythical cure-all.
And this quest. He doesn't know it, but he's already being manipulated by Ares.
Exactly. Ares saw Kratos' potential, his skill, his rage. He basically picked him as his guy in a wager of the gods to get the ambrosia. So Kratos is out there fighting champions of Poseidon, Artemis, Hades, Helios, winning, grabbing divine artifacts like the flames of Apollo.
Thinking he's just saving his daughter.
Right. But he's proving himself to Ares, showing he's got that ruthless edge.
Until the moment it all goes wrong. The barbarians, the pact.
The turning point. His army is about to be wiped out by this massive barbarian horde. He's desperate, and in that desperation, he cries out to Ares, offers his life, his servitude, in exchange for the power to destroy his enemies.
Finds Ares answers.
He instantly grants him the power, binds the blades of chaos to his arms, chains, fire, the whole iconic look. Kratos wins the battle but loses his soul.
And the price is just unthinkable. Ares tricks him into killing his own family.
It's horrific. Ares leads him to a village, clouds his mind with battle rage. Kratos slaughters everyone inside a temple, only to realize, when the rage clears, that the last two victims were Lysandra and Calliope, his wife and daughter.
Oh, God.
Ares claims it was necessary to sever his mortal ties, to make him the perfect warrior, free of attachments, pure rage.
It breaks him. The ashes, the curse, the ghost of Sparta.
Completely breaks him. The grief, the horror, the village oracle curses him right there. Binds the ashes of his wife and daughter permanently to his skin, turns it that deathly white.
Pale as the moon.
Exactly. He becomes the ghost of Sparta, forever marked, forever haunted by what he did. It's a physical manifestation of his guilt and Ares' cruelty.
So years pass, he's serving Ares, but the nightmares, they're unbearable. This leads to Ascension.
Right. Ascension takes place after he finally breaks his oath to Ares. He just can't take the constant visions, the screams.
But breaking an oath to a god that brings the Furies down on him.
Immediately. They are not happy. Their whole purpose is punishing Oathbreakers, so they start tormenting him, trapping him in these elaborate illusions, showing him a happy life with his family. If only he'd go back to
A
Ares.
psychological torture.
Brutal. Playing on his deepest regrets and desires.
But he gets help from an unexpected source. Orcos, Ares' son.
Yeah, Orcos, the son Ares rejected. He sees the Furies have become corrupted, serving Ares' ambition instead of true justice. He decides to help Kratos, gives him tools like the Eyes of Truth, the Oath Stone, things to see through the illusions.
So Kratos fights back against the Furies.
He does. Battles them, mentally and physically, and eventually defeats them. Breaks their hold.
But there's one last twist, right, with Orcos.
The final bitter price. Orcos reveals he is the living embodiment of Kratos' broken oath to Ares. He's the oath keeper for that specific bond. And the only way for Kratos to be truly free, to sever that divine tie completely, is to kill Orcos.
Kratos has to kill the guy who helped him.
Yeah. Orcos pleads for it, wants an honorable death, released from his burden. Kratos is reluctant. He's killed so many innocents. But he does it. And that act, killing Orcos, it shatters the last illusions. The full weight of his past, the murder of his family, it all comes crashing back. No more denial, just raw, horrifying truth. So oath broken, Furies dead, Orcos gone. Kratos then spends the next 10 years serving the other Olympian gods. He's still clinging to this desperate hope, right, that maybe they can take away the nightmares, the memories.
So he becomes their errand boy, basically, fighting their wars.
Pretty much. Defending Attica from Persians, killing basilisks, whatever they ask. He's their blunt instrument, all for a chance of peace of mind.
But the gods, they don't deliver. Athena tells him the nightmares are permanent.
Exactly. The ultimate betrayal in his eyes. Athena says something like, your sins are forgiven, Kratos, but no god can erase the memories of your deeds.
Devastating after a decade of service.
Utterly. He's just completely abandoned, sees no escape, so he climbs the highest cliff in Greece and jumps. Tries to end it all.
But Athena saves him and offers him Ares' empty throne.
Yep. Pulls him out of the water, says the gods won't let their servant die like that, and then offers him the job opening. God of War. Talk about irony.
Right.
So his first, maybe only, official task as the potential new God of War is take out the old one, defeat Ares.
The one who started it all.
The very one. He needs serious firepower, so he goes after Pandora's box, believes it holds the power to kill a god. Ares finds out, intercepts him, and just impales him with a massive stone pillar, throws it from miles away. Seems like game over.
But he gets revived by the Gravedigger, who turns out to be Zeus.
Yeah, surprise. The Gravedigger, this mysterious old guy who's been kind of lurking, helps him escape the underworld. And yeah, later revealed to be Zeus in disguise, giving these cryptic hints about Kratos' parentage, his purpose. Very strange, considering what happens later.
Right. So Kratos gets out, finds Pandora's box.
Opens it, absorbs its power, which we later find out is actually hope,
Yeah.
and uses it to become god-sized and finally kill Ares. Brutally.
And takes his place. Kratos is the new god of war.
And he is not a benevolent god. His reign is pure destruction. He leads Spartan armies, wages war across Greece, destroys cities just because he can. He's consumed by rage and power.
Athena tries to warn him off.
She does, tries to counsel him, pleads for restraint, but he's defiant. I need no protection, he shouts at her. He's become like Ares, maybe worse.
And this unchecked power, this defiance, it triggers Zeus's paranoia again, the prophecy.
Exactly. Zeus sees Kratos acting just like a younger, angrier version of himself, maybe, sees the prophecy potentially coming true. So he sets a trap. Kratos is attacking Rhodes.
With that giant Colossus statue.
Right. Zeus, disguised as an eagle, secretly drains Kratos' godly power into the Colossus, bringing it to life. Then he tricks Kratos, says, take the blade of Olympus. You need its power.
The same blade Zeus used to beat the Titans.
The very one. Kratos pours the last of his godly essence and his mortality into the blade to defeat the Colossus, only for Zeus to appear, grab the blade, and impale Kratos with it.
Kills his own son, or tries to.
Tries to. Says, this ends now. Wipes out the Spartan army, too, for good measure. It's cold, calculated. Zeus trying to break the cycle by force.
But Kratos doesn't stay dead. Gaia brings him back, the Titan.
Yep. Dragged to the underworld again.
Yeah.
But Gaia intervenes. She sees Kratos as a weapon she can use against Zeus. She offers him power, allies him with the other imprisoned Titans, fuels his rage, points it at Olympus.
Let's start the second Great War, the Titan War 2.0.
Pretty much. Revenge is the goal.
And Kratos goes after the Sisters of Fate to literally change his past.
That's the plan. If he can control the loom of fate, maybe he can undo everything, prevent his family's death, prevent his servitude, Along the way, he runs into other Titans. Typhon, Prometheus, Atlas gets help, makes deals, fights some old foes brought back, like Ulrich.
And finding out Zeus destroyed Sparta, that just pours gasoline on the fire.
Oh, yeah. Learning his home city was wiped out, that makes it even more personal. His rage becomes almost absolute.
And somewhere in there, he finds Deimos, his brother.
He does. A really tragic side story. He finds Deimos in the domain of death, being tortured by Thanatos.
After all these years.
Yeah. Deimos is initially furious at Kratos for abandoning him. Years of torment have broken him. But they reconcile, have this brief moment fighting side by side against Thanatos, like brothers again.
But it doesn't last. Thanatos kills Deimos.
Crushing. Just as they reconnect, Thanatos kills him, and Kratos just snaps, unleashes everything on Thanatos, avenges Deimos by killing the god of death himself.
More rage, more death.
Always. And then there's that creepy scene with the gravedigger, Zeus, digging graves. He digs one for Deimos, one for Kratos' mother, and then an empty one, says only one remains. Chilling. Foreshadowing Kratos is truly alone now.
So the stage is set. Kratos leads the Titans against Olympus, the second Great Titan War.
And it is brutal. Kratos goes on an absolute god-killing spree. Systematically hunts down and murders the Olympians. It's not just war, it's extermination.
And killing these gods has actual consequences for the world, right? Like major apocalyptic consequences.
Huge consequences. It's not just removing figures from power, it's unraveling reality.
Yeah.
Kratos kills Poseidon. The seas go wild. Massive floods cover the world.
Okay.
He kills Hades. All the souls escape the underworld. Total chaos between life and death. He rips Helios' head off. The sun vanishes. Eternal darkness.
Jeez.
Kills Hermes. A plague sweeps the land. Kills Hera. All plant life dies. He even kills Hephaestus, Pandora's father. And Hercules, his own half-brother, basically out of petty jealousy.
Wow. He's just tearing everything down.
He is the apocalypse, fueled by vengeance. The Greek world is literally ending because of his rage.
And this all leads to Pandora, the key to Pandora's box, or the Flame of Olympus.
Right. He needs Pandora, this artificial girl Hephaestus created, to essentially open the path to the Flame of Olympus, which he believes holds the power to finally kill Zeus. Zeus tries to stop him, obviously, knows this is the endgame. But Pandora sacrifices herself, throws herself into the flame, believing she's unleashing power for Kratos.
But that box, it's empty.
Appears empty. Zeus mocks him. All that for nothing. They have their final battle inside Gaia herself, believe it or not. Kratos impales Zeus with the blade of Olympus right through Gaia's heart, seemingly killing them both.
Vengeance complete.
Not quite. Zeus's spirit comes back, attacks Kratos mentally, traps him in his own mind, forces him to confront all his guilt, all his sins.
Or psychological torture.
Yeah. But then a vision of Pandora appears again. And she tells him to forgive himself.
Forgive himself after every
That
day.
act of self-forgiveness, accepting his past, that unlocks the true power, the power of hope. It was inside him all along since he first opened the box to kill Ares. He just didn't know it.
Oh, well.
And fueled by hope, he finally brutally, permanently kills Zeus, beats him to death with his bare hands.
So Zeus is dead, Olympus is ruined, the world is in chaos, then Athena shows up.
Athena appears, yeah. Claims the power of hope is rightfully hers. She wants to use it to reshape the world, rule over the ashes.
But Kratos refuses.
He does. Maybe he finally understands the danger of that kind of power. Or maybe he just wants to defy the gods one last time. He takes the blade of Olympus and impales himself.
What?
To release the power of hope. Not to Athena, but out into the world. For humanity. A final act of, well, maybe defiance, maybe sacrifice. Athena is furious, thinks humans can't handle hope. And somehow Kratos survives that too. Cursed to live, apparently.
Walks away from the ruins. The ghost of Sparta endures.
Endures and begins a long, long exile. Centuries of wandering.
So centuries pass. Kratos wanders, trying to leave Greece, leave his past behind, heading north.
Yeah, a huge time jump. He travels far, seeking solitude. Tries desperately to get rid of the blades of chaos.
The symbols of his past.
Exactly. But they just keep coming back to him, magically reappear. Can't escape them, can't escape what he is.
A constant reminder.
During this time, there are hints he travels elsewhere too. Briefly enters Egypt, encounters figures from their mythology. They seem to recognize his destiny, his inherent nature of rage and war, like he can't truly escape it.
Interesting. So other mythologies exist side by side.
Seems like it. Regional pantheons.
Check.
He fights this recurring chaos beast. Initially wants no part of helping people, just wants to be left alone. But eventually something shifts. He reluctantly steps in, maybe the first tiny crack in the armor, accepting his nature isn't purely destructive. Still mostly withdrawn, though.
And eventually he finds his way to the Northlands, Midgard, the realm of the Norse gods.
Yeah, settles down there, builds a life in seclusion. The chaos from Greece didn't reach this far, apparently, and he finds peace, or something like it. Meets Faye, his future wife.
And they have a son, Atreus. A new beginning.
A deliberate attempt at one. A quiet life, controlling his rage, being a husband, a father, trying to bury the ghost of Sparta.
But peace never lasts for Kratos. Faye dies.
She does, and her last wish is specific.
Having her-
Scatter her ashes from the highest peak in all the 9 realms.
Not exactly a simple request.
Not at all. And that quest, that duty to his wife, is what pulls Kratos and Atreus out of seclusion and back into the world of gods and monsters. It's the start of everything in the Norse saga.
And trouble finds him almost immediately. Baldur shows up.
The knock on the door. This stranger, Baldur, radiating this weird energy, he attacks Kratos.
Looking for answers. Which really means looking for Faye.
Exactly. He knows Faye was a giant, Laufey the Just, and Odin sent him to find her, or any information she left behind. And Baldur's defining trait, he's a curse, really, is that he can't feel anything.
Freya's spell, right, to protect him.
Yeah, his mother Freya made him invincible, but the cost was sensation. No pain, no pleasure, just numb suffering. And he hates her for it, deeply.
Along their journey, they meet the dwarf brothers, Brock and Sindri.
The Holdra brothers, legendary blacksmiths. Turns out they actually crafted Faye's Leviathan axe, the weapon Kratos now carries.
Oh, cool connection.
Yeah, and they become key allies, constantly upgrading Kratos' gear, providing help and comic relief.
And they meet Freya, too, Baldur's mother.
They do. She helps him initially, acting as this wise witch of the woods. She instantly recognizes Kratos as a god.
Tells him to hide Atreus' nature, warns about Odin.
Yeah, warns him Odin is paranoid, manipulative, advises secrecy. And she does this odd thing. Destroys Atreus' mistletoe arrows.
Mistletoe. That sounds familiar.
Keep that in mind. It's crucial later. Foreshadowing her deep knowledge and desperate protection of Baldur.
Their path gets blocked by the Black Breath, some kind of magical fog.
Yep, a magical barrier. Freya tells them they need the light of Alfheim, the realm of the elves, to dispel it. So, off to another realm they go. And Alfheim. That's where things get really heavy between Kratos and Atreus.
The vision.
Kratos sees a vision of Atreus' inner thoughts, his resentment. Atreus feels Kratos should have died instead of Faye.
Oof, that's rough for a father to hear.
Brutal. But it forces a conversation. Kratos actually tries to open up just a little, tries to explain his own grief, tries to connect with his son's pain. It's clumsy, difficult.
But it's a start, a shift from the silent, angry Kratos.
A definite shift. The beginning of him trying to be a father, not just a general. Still a long way to go, but it's a vital moment. So they finally get to the peak of the mountain in Midgard. But it's the wrong peak.
Right, and they find Mimir there, the talking head.
Yep. Baldur and Thor's sons, Magni and Modi, are interrogating him. Mimir, the self-proclaimed smartest man alive, trapped in a tree by Odin, Kratos frees him well, cuts off his head, and Freya reanimates it, and Mimir becomes their guide.
And tells them the real highest peak is in Jotunheim.
The land of the giants, which Odin has sealed off. So, new destination, new impossible goal.
Mimir's great, though. Adds a lot of knowledge and humor. But the journey's still dangerous. They fight Thor's sons.
They do. Magni and Modi track him down. Kratos kills Magni, establishing he's a serious power in this new land. Modi escapes, but later comes back weakened and bitter after Thor apparently beat him for failing.
And Atreus.
Modi insults Faye, and Atreus just snaps, stabs Modi, kills him.
Whoa, that's dark for the kid.
It is. It's this uncontrolled rage bubbling up, foreshadowing his own power and the darkness that can come with it.
And after these fights, Atreus gets sick. Really sick.
Yeah, collapses. Kratos is terrified.
Yeah.
Mimir suggests it's because Atreus doesn't know his true nature. His godly side is fighting his mortal side, tearing him apart internally.
So Kratos needs to tell him he's a god. But first, he needs a cure from Helheim.
Right. The cure requires the heart of the Bridgekeeper in Helheim, the realm of the dead. But Helheim is freezing, and Leviathan Axe is ice-based. Kratos realizes he needs fire. He needs
The blades of chaos. He has to go back home and get them.
the very symbols of his rage, his past, the murder of his family. He buried them, hoped never to touch them again, but he has to, for his son. It's a huge moment of confronting his past.
He gets the blades, takes Atreus to Freya, and she confirms it. Atreus is part god.
She does. Explains the sickness is his latent godhood tearing him apart because he doesn't understand it. So Kratos, finally, tells Atreus the truth. You are a god, boy. like me.
How does Atreus take it?
Hmm.
Not great, initially. He gets arrogant, cocky, starts bossing Kratos around, acting superior.
Thinks being a god makes him better than everyone.
Pretty much. It leads directly to him killing Modi out of spite, not necessity. Kratos has to reprimand him harshly. Do not be sorry. Be better. Trying desperately to steer him away from his own path.
So Kratos goes to Helheim for the cure
Uh-huh.
and runs into Baldur again.
Yep. Baldur interferes, trying to stop him. They fight, accidentally shatter the gate to Jotunheim, and all three get sucked into Helheim. And Helheim messes with your head, shows you visions of your past traumas.
What do they see?
Atreus sees himself killing Modi, forced to confront his own cruelty. Kratos relives beating Zeus senseless. Raw, uncontrolled rage. And Baldur sees Freya casting the spell on him, fueling his hatred for her even more.
They need a way to Jotunheim now. Mimir's eye, the world serpent.
Yeah, Mimir's other eye, stolen by Odin, holds the Bifrost power to travel realms. Turns out the world serpent, Jörmungandr, swallowed it.
So they have to go inside the world serpent. Yep. Row the boat right into its mouth. Retrieve the eye. Wild. But just as they're about to use it, Galdur shows up again. Final confrontation time.
And this is where the mistletoe comes in.
The mistletoe arrow. Sindri gave Atreus some earlier. Freya destroyed most of them, but one was left, attached to his quiver strap. During the fight, it accidentally pierces Baldur's hand. Just a scratch.
But mistletoe was the one thing Freya missed when she cast the spell. The loophole.
Exactly. The invulnerability breaks. Baldur feels pain for the first time in a century, then feels the cold, then feels everything.
And he's happy about it.
Ecstatic. Even though it's pain he can finally feel, it makes him even more dangerous, more manic.
And he goes after Freya, tries to kill his own mother.
Consumed by hatred, Freya begs Kratos not to kill him, her son. But Kratos sees Baldur has lost to vengeance, he'll never stop. He embodies the same cycle Kratos is trying to escape.
So Kratos kills him, snaps his neck.
He does. To save Freya, yes, but also recognizing the destructive path Baldur is on, it's a heavy choice.
And Freya, she doesn't take it well.
She is devastated, furious, swears vengeance on Kratos. You will suffer for this. Holds Baldur's body. Heartbreaking. Another enemy made, even in doing what seemed necessary.
But they can finally go to Jotunheim now, scatter Faye's ashes.
They reach the highest peak in Jotunheim and find murals, prophecies left by the giants, and the biggest revelation. Faye wasn't just Faye, she was Laufey, a giant.
Whoa, Atreus is part giant.
Part god, part giant, part mortal. And the murals, they show everything, their whole journey. Faye planned it, orchestrated events to lead them there.
She planned it, not like malevolently, but to guide them.
To guide them, yes, and crucially, to ensure they forged their own path. The murals show she went against giant prophecy to protect them, to give them choice. Destiny isn't set in stone, her actions imply. It can be changed. And Atreus sees his name on the mural, the name the giants knew him by.
Loki.
Loki, his intended birth name. Mind. Blown.
But then Mimir drops some bad news. Fimbulwinter.
Yeah. Killing Baldur, a god of light, has apparently messed with the seasons, accelerated the timeline. Fimbulwinter, the 3-year great winter, has begun early.
Which means
Ragnarok is coming. Sooner than expected. And they just helped kick it off.
heavy. What do you even do with that knowledge? How do you prepare for the end of the world when you might have caused it?
That's the question hanging over them as the snow starts to fall.
Okay, so 3 years of Fimbulwinter pass, just snow, ice, survival.
Pretty much. A harsh, quiet period. Kratos and Atreus are training, surviving, but they're also being hunted.
Freya, still after revenge.
Relentlessly. She attacks them periodically, a constant dangerous reminder of the price they paid. During this time, they also take in a sec wolf, Fenrir. Atreus forms a bond.
And when Fenrir dies, Atreus does something, unknowingly.
Yeah, in his grief, he sort of puts Fenrir's soul into his knife, doesn't realize what he's done, but it's another key piece for later.
And Kratos? Is he changing during this time, the dream about Faye?
A really significant dream. Faye comes to him, tells him he needs to stop being closed off, to open his heart, accept responsibility for his impact. It feels like preparation, a nudge towards a different path than just silent endurance. He's starting to internalize the need to be more.
And then the quiet is shattered. Odin and Thor show up at their house?
Yep, unannounced. Odin, playing the friendly diplomat. Just want peace, he says. Offers protection.
But he's really after something else. Tyr.
Exactly. He knows Atreus has been researching Tyr, the Norse god of war who supposedly died. Odin wants that information. Thor's there too, basically his muscle. He challenges Kratos, tries to bait him into fighting, into showing that infamous rage.
Does Kratos bite?
He fights back, defends himself, But crucially, he controls it. Doesn't give Thor the satisfaction of unleashing the monster. Thor is visibly annoyed. Kratos won't just rage out.
Odin leaves Atreus an invitation to Asgard.
Yeah, slips him a little token. An open invitation. Plus some payment for the damage Thor did to their house. It's pure manipulation, trying to drive a wedge between Kratos and Atreus. Lure the boy away with promises of knowledge and belonging.
You really see Odin's methods. Subtle, deceptive, always playing the long game.
Absolutely. Is he trying to prevent Ragnarok? Or just control it for his own benefit? It's always unclear with Odin. Knowledge is his obsession.
So Atreus has been doing his own research. He reveals these Jotnar shrines.
Yeah, hidden near their home. He shows Kratos. Inside, more murals, more prophecies. They see Skull and Hati, the wolves chasing the sun and moon, but more importantly, they see Tyr.
Leading an army against Odin.
During Ragnarok.
Exactly. Which confirms Atreus' suspicion. Tyr might not be dead. He might be the key to fighting Odin.
And Atreus hasn't been working alone on this. Sindri's been helping him.
Yep. Another secret Atreus kept. Kratos isn't happy about the secrecy, but agrees Tyr is worth finding. They travel with Sindri to Svartalfheim, the realm of the dwarves, following clues.
And they find him. They rescue Tyr. They do. Find him imprisoned in a mine. Rescue the actual Norse god of war. Huge win, right?
Yeah. So he's ready to lead the charge.
Well, no. Surprise. Tyr has become a complete pacifist. Renounced all violence after seeing its cost across the realms.
Oh, that's inconvenient.
Massively. Their potential general refuses to fight, adds a whole new layer of complexity.
And Sindri, he shares something heavy with Atreus about Brock.
Yeah, a really vulnerable moment. Sindri confesses he brought Brock back from the dead years ago after an accident, but he messed up. Only retrieved 3 of the 4 parts of Brock's soul from the Lake of Souls.
Which is why Brock is blue and different.
Apparently. Sindri's carried that guilt, that lie, for centuries. Never told Brock the truth. It explains so much about their dynamic, the tension under the surface.
Meanwhile, Atreus gets drawn to Ironwood from another prophecy.
Right. The word pulls him there magically. It's this hidden giant sanctuary in Jotunheim. He meets Angrboda, another young giant, one of the last ones.
And she shows him his own shrine, the Loki shrine.
Yeah. And the prophecy is terrifying. Shows Kratos dying at Ragnarok, killed by Thor. And it shows Atreus seemingly joining Odin.
Whoa. No wonder he freaks out, turns into a wolf.
Briefly, yeah. Overwhelmed by the revelation, his giant powers manifesting.
Angrboda tells him the giants aren't really dead. Their souls are in marbles.
Basically, yeah. She reveals the giants transferred their consciousness into these soul marbles before Jotunheim fell. And Atreus, Loki, is destined to find them, to be their keeper.
Gives him a purpose.
A huge one. And then, things get even weirder. They meet Angrboda's grandmother, Grilla, who's hoarding some of these souls. After a confrontation, Atreus takes a giant soul and puts it into a dead snake.
And it grows into the world serpent, Jörmungandr.
The very same one they met in Lake of Nine. Timey-wimey stuff. Maybe Jörmungandr was sent back in time during Ragnarok. It implies this massive, complex loop.
So Atreus heads back to Asgard, playing along with Odin.
Pretending he's still Odin's pawn. Odin gives him a sentient sword, Ingrid, and this mysterious mask he's obsessed with. Sends Atreus to find the missing pieces. Atreus ends up traveling with Thor, looking for mask fragments, sees more prophecies, like Surtur becoming Ragnarok in Muspelheim.
Does Heimdall trust him, the guy who sees everything?
Not one bit. Heimdall is deeply suspicious, constantly grilling Atreus, trying to read his thoughts. Atreus openly calls himself Loki the Jotnar to him, pushing back.
He also meets Thor's daughter, Thrud.
Yeah, but befriends her. She wants to be a Valkyrie. Adds a more personal dimension to the Aesir. They're not all just villains. But Odin's manipulation is constant, trying to win Atreus over, using him to get this mask which he believes holds the key to ultimate knowledge, a way to see beyond Ragnarok, beyond everything.
Okay, things start heating up. Atreus messes up in Helheim. Frees Garm.
Big time. He's looking for something, thinks he finds Fenrir, but nope, it's Garm, this ancient giant wolf chained up by Odin. And Garm has the power to tear holes between realms. Once free, he starts ripping reality apart. Chaos everywhere.
Not good. How do they fix it?
Kratos figures it out. They track Garm down, and Kratos realizes they can use Atreus' knife, the one holding Fenrir's soul. Atreus transfers Fenrir's soul into Garm. It calms the beast, makes him controllable. They manage to close the tears. It's a clever solution, not just brute force. Kratos adapting.
And the alliance with Freya finally solidifies.
Yes. They go to Vanaheim, her home realm, to help her brother Freyr fight Odin's forces. Kratos actively helps Freya break Odin's curse that bound her to Midgard. A real act of trust, bridging the gap between them.
And Kratos lets go of his vengeance against her for Baldur.
He does. He actively protects her from Heimdall later, chooses the alliance, the common goal, over his personal grudge. It's massive growth for him. Huge. Choosing to be better, like he told Atreus.
But then he has to fight Heimdall, the untouchable Watcher god.
Yeah, Heimdall's blocking their path, reading their every move. Kratos gets this new weapon, the Draupnir spear, which multiplies. He uses the spear's multiplying effect to overwhelm Heimdall's foresight. Lands a hit, detonates the spears inside his arm.
Cripples him.
Temporarily. Heimdall regenerates, comes back furious. Kratos is tempted by that old rage. Mimir pleads with him. But Kratos knows Heimdall won't stop. He strangles him. Another god dead. But this time, Kratos is visibly disturbed by it. Takes the Jallarhorn.
The horn that signals Ragnarok.
Well, can be used for that. Tara points out, killing Heimdall means Odin's peace deal is off. War is coming. For real now.
Atreus goes back to Asgard one last time to find the final mask piece.
Risky move. Volunteers to go, keep Odin distracted. Kratos gives him his blessing. Sindri gives him a secret escape route device. He finds the last piece in Niflheim with Thrud and Thor, who's on a massive drinking binge.
And then Odin shows up. And it all goes wrong. Brock dies.
Horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Odin arrives.
Yeah.
Sif and the Valkyries confront him, revealing Heimdall is dead. Thor turns on Atreus, blaming him for everything. And then Odin, who had disguised himself as Tyr to gain their trust earlier, stabs Brock. Brutally, in front of everyone.
Oh no, not Brock!
Brock dies in Sindri's arms. And in his last breaths, he realizes Sindri's secret about his soul. Heartbreaking.
Sindri must be destroyed.
Absolutely shattered, consumed by grief and rage, he just vanishes, breaks his escape device, cuts ties with everyone. Odin escapes too. War is now absolutely, undeniably here.
So, time to gather the armies. They recruit Surtur, the fire giant.
They need Ragnarok on their side, ironically. They go to Muspelheim, convince Surt to fulfill his destiny. He agrees to merge his heart with his lost love, Sinmara's, becoming the giant fiery entity Ragnarok, knowing it will destroy him too. A massive sacrifice.
Freya asks Kratos to lead, to be their general.
Yeah, she rallies the Valkyries, now shield maidens, and turns to Kratos, asks him to lead the combined armies of the realms against Asgard. Kratos hesitates, but then accepts, steps up, not as the vengeful god of war, but as a general trying to protect people. It's the culmination of his journey so far.
So Kratos blows the Jallarhorn. The final battle begins. Assault on Asgard.
The call goes out. Armies from all realms converge. Ragnarok, the fire giant, is unleashed. Odin uses refugees as shields. Pure ruthlessness. But Kratos makes a choice. He sees Ragnarok as just mindless destruction, killing innocents too. He actually stops Ragnarok temporarily.
Stops the apocalypse he helped start.
Chooses to be better, right then and there. Opens his heart, directs the fight more strategically, protects the vulnerable. It's a huge character beat.
They infiltrate Asgard, find a way in.
Yeah. Sindri reappears briefly, still broken, but uses his knowledge to find a weak spot in Asgard's wall. They sneak in. Inside, Thrud tries to reach Thor. Kratos fights Thor one last time.
But this time, it's different.
Kratos appeals to him, father to father. We must be better than this for our children. Dril listens, lowers Mjolnir, defies Odin, chooses peace.
Finally breaks the cycle.
For a second. Then Odin, furious at the defiance, stabs Thor himself. Kills his own son right in front of Thrud. Just cold.
So it comes down to Odin, Kratos, Freya, Atreus against the All-Father.
The final showdown. Odin tries to tempt Atreus with the mask one last time. See the truth. Understand everything. Atreus smashes the mask, refuses Odin's obsession. Kratos defeats Odin in combat, and then Sindri comes back, consumed by grief, takes the marble Atreus used for giant souls, and traps Odin's soul inside it forever.
Wow. Vengeance for Brock. Cold.
Cold, but done.
Yeah.
Asgard crumbles as Ragnarok finishes its job. Freyr sacrifices himself, holding it back so the others could escape.
So they survive. Ragnarok happens, but they make it out. What happens next?
Atreus wakes up in Midgard, finds Thrud and Sif okay, reunites with Angrboda, and Angrboda shows him the real final mural Faye left, Laufey's shrine.
What does it show?
It shows Faye destroyed the Loki shrine Angrboda found earlier, the one predicting Kratos' death and Atreus joining Odin.
She destroyed it. Why?
To ensure they made their own choices, to free them from prophecy, she actively fought against her own people's predictions to give them free will. Incredible.
So Atreus decides he needs to find the other giants, the souls.
Yeah. He embraces that responsibility, his own path. Time to go it alone for a while. He says goodbye to Kratos. It's emotional, but understanding.
Kratos lets him go.
He does. Tells him Loki must go, but Atreus will always be in his heart. acknowledges his son's independence. It's a mature, loving farewell.
And Kratos finds another shrine about himself.
A shrine he was meant to find. It doesn't show him as a destroyer. It shows him being worshipped,
Right.
loved, as a protector, a figure of hope in the Norse realms.
His destiny changed, or he changed it.
Maybe both. It inspires him, shows him a new purpose is possible. Not just destruction, but building something better. Though grief still lingers, he attends Brock's funeral, tries to comfort Sindri, but Sindri is just gone, lost in his rage and pain. Vanishes. Some wounds don't heal easily.
Which leads to the Valhalla DLC. Kratos gets an invitation.
A mysterious invitation to Valhalla. Not the afterlife, but this strange space that manifests memories, trials based on warriors' pasts. Freya, now basically Queen of the United Realms, asks him to go. She's considering making him the new Norse god of war, a leader for their council. Hopes Valhalla helps him decide, helps him integrate his past.
So he goes into Valhalla
Yeah.
and confronts his Greek past.
Repeatedly. It forces him to relive it all. His bloody throne in Greece, the judges of the underworld, Helios' decapitated head taunting him, the labyrinth, the evils from Pandora's box, his pact with Ares. It's a brutal psychological gauntlet facing the monster he was.
But he's guided by Tyr, the real Tyr.
Yeah, the real Tyr turns out to be the one who invited him. He guides Kratos, spars with him, helps him process these memories, helps him accept his past choices, even the horrific ones, understanding the context, the desperation, like making the pact with Ares to save his people initially. Tyr reveals the power of hope was always in Kratos, carried all the way from Greece.
He never lost it.
Never. Tyr emphasizes hope and evil, good and bad, coexist. It's about the choices you make, the path you choose now.
And Kratos finally confronts himself, his younger self.
His younger, raging self on the God of War throne, the embodiment of his past, and he accepts that part of him. Doesn't destroy it, but integrates it, understands it. He chooses to be more than just war. He chooses to be hope, to be better.
Accepts Freya's offer, joins the council.
He does. A god of hope, ready to lead, protect, and build. A profound transformation, finally complete. Or maybe just beginning again.
Wow. So that's the journey from the depths of vengeance in Greece to, well, to hope and leadership in the Norse realms. What a ride.
It's incredible, isn't it? Kratos starts as this figure of pure, relentless destruction, the ghost of Sparta, defined by his rage and loss, and ends up choosing growth, choosing responsibility, choosing hope. It shows that even the most damaged, most violent past doesn't have to define your future.
Yeah, it really hits that theme of confronting your past, right? Accepting it but not being bound by it. Choosing to be better, like he kept saying. It's a powerful message that destiny isn't just written for you, you forge it. Faye knew it, and Kratos and Atreus lived it.
Absolutely. They literally fought against prophecy, against what was supposedly preordained, to make their own choices, good and bad.
So maybe a final thought for you listening out there. Kratos and Atreus broke free from the destiny others tried to write for them. Think about your own life. Are there narratives, expectations, maybe even prophecies laid out for you? Challenges that feel predetermined? What choices, big or small, can you make today, right now, to start writing your own story, forging your own path, instead of just living out what's been written? Something to think about.
Until next time on The Deep Dive.